Ahlan, Ahlan ya sahabi. You clicked on my story? Good choice, wise traveler. They say I'm a troublemaker, a poet, a ghoul slayer, maybe even a bit too handsome. But tonight, I'm just your bedtime buddy. If you're here to fall asleep, trust me, by the time we're halfway through my adventures, your eyes will be heavier than a camel after lunch. But hey, if I make you smile or yawn or even snore like a desert wind, throw me a like, eh? I may be an outlaw, but I crave a little validation. And if you've got a friend who really needs to sleep, someone tossing and turning like a lizard on a hot rock, send them this video. I promise I won't raid their tents. Or better yet, tell me who you want me to talk about next. Another outlaw? A cursed prince? A sleepy jinny? You choose, I narrate. Now, close your eyes, lean back, and let me spin you a tale so soothing it'll make even a scorpion cuddle a cactus. Yalla, let's begin.
In the vast and endless sands of ancient Arabia, where the desert stretched beyond sight and the wind whispered secrets of forgotten ages, there existed men who walked alone. They were the Suʿālīk, the exiled ones, outlaws and poets, who had been cast out from their tribes, wandering the dunes with only the stars as their guides. Among them were legends, al-Shanfarā, swift-footed and vengeful, Ta'abbata Sharran, the wild-hearted warrior, and many others whose names were etched in the stones of time. They did not belong to kings, nor to merchants, nor to the lavish dwellings of the settled people. Instead, they roamed free, their only companions, the wind, the moon, and the silent beasts of the wilderness. Ta'abbata Sharran's fate was sealed when he was just a child, born into a world where the strong devoured the weak. His true name was Thabit ibn Jabir, but fate had other plans for him. As the story goes, he was raised by his mother, a woman of fierce independence, who had no patience for the restrictions of society. When she remarried, her new husband, Ta'abbata's stepfather, sought to discipline the wild child, hoping to tame his spirit. But the desert is not kind to those who try to cage its sons. One day, the boy overheard his stepfather whispering plans to get rid of him. Knowing he would never be truly accepted, Thabit took up a dagger and fled into the desert, choosing exile over servitude. He wandered far and wide, stealing from the greedy surviving off the land and sharpening both his blade and his wit. The name Ta'abbata Sharran, he who carries evil under his arm, was given to him after a daring act of defiance. It is said that one night he returned home carrying the severed head of a ghoul under his arm, having slain the creature with his bare hands. From that night forward, he was no longer just Thabit. He was a warrior of the desert, feared and respected by all who crossed his path. One such night, as the crescent moon hung like a scimitar in the sky, al-Shanfarā sat upon a dune, gazing at the endless horizon. His life was that of solitude, of vengeance, of poetry. Born to a tribe that had abandoned him, he had become something more than a man. He was a ghost of the desert, his feet carrying him faster than any horse, his soul burning with an unquenchable fire. In the distance, a figure emerged from the darkness, a man as restless as he, as untamed as the storm that sweeps across the sands. It was Ta'abbata Sharran, known for his defiance and for the dagger always at his side. The two men, bound by fate, sat in silence. They spoke not with words, but with the understanding of those who had seen death, who had laughed in the face of cruelty, and who had found solace in the desert's embrace. "The city sleeps," Ta'abbata Sharran murmured at last, his voice barely more than a breath. "And we remain awake, forever wandering? Al-Shanfarā nodded. The walls of men were never meant for us. The desert night was vast, wrapping around them like a mother's embrace. Their tales were many, the raids they had led against the greedy, the poetry they had spoken under the shadow of palm trees, the battles they had fought not for conquest, but for survival. Al-Shanfarā's voice carried into the night, speaking of the wrongs done to him. His tribe had shunned him, leaving him to perish in the wild. But he did not perish. He thrived. He became the shadow in the dunes, the hunter who took from the rich to survive. His poetry, sharp as his sword, spoke of vengeance, of loneliness, and of a heart too hardened by betrayal to ever find rest. Ta'abbata Sharran listened, nodding. He too had been outcast, wandering the desert, finding home in the shifting sands. A man with no tribe is a man who belongs to the world, he said. Al-Shanfarā smirked. And yet, we are hunted like beasts. The two warriors sat in silence, their eyes watching the flickering stars. Somewhere in the distance, the howl of a lone wolf echoed, as if mourning their fate. Their lives were not merely ones of exile, but of defiance. They did not surrender to the fate given to them, but carved a new one with their blades. Al-Shanfarā recounted his many raids, striking against those who had wronged him, taking from the wealthy and given to none but himself and the wind. He spoke of nights spent tracking merchant caravans, his body moving like a shadow through the dunes, striking swiftly and disappearing before the dust could settle. Ta'abbata Sharran, ever the wilder of the two, laughed as he recounted his exploits. He told of the times he had stolen from those who thought themselves powerful, slipping into their tents in the dead of night, taking their wealth and leaving only footprints in the sand. And they call us thieves, he mused, yet we steal only what the world has already stolen from us. Al-Shanfarā nodded. A man must eat, and a free man must take what is his. The desert wind carried their words across the sands, their poetry flowing like water, shaping their legend. For the Suʿālīk were not mere bandits, they were warriors against injustice, men who had been cast away but had refused to disappear. Their words lived on, their poetry whispered through the ages, long after their bones had been buried beneath the desert sands. As the night stretched on, their stories intertwined with the whispers of the wind. They spoke of the battles they had fought, not for gold, not for land, but for the mere right to exist. They spoke of the times they had escaped the clutches of bounty hunters, slipping through the desert like mirages. And they spoke of the beauty of the wild, the scent of rain on dry earth, the golden glow of dawn breaking over the dunes, the way the desert cradled them in its endless arms. With every whispered verse, the wind carried their words beyond the dunes, into the unknown. For the Suʿālīk were not just warriors, not just thieves in the night. They were the voice of the wild, the untamed, the unbroken. As the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, the two figures rose, footsteps in the sand, shadows melting into the golden light. They did not know where the wind would take them next, nor did they care. The world was vast, and they belonged to no one but the desert itself. And so they walked, their figures fading into the endless dunes, their stories carried on the wind. The desert remembers them as it remembers all things. And as sleep takes you, gentle traveler, may you too find peace in the vast embrace of the night.